and you are. We are Citizen Outbreak. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Citizen Outbreak. We are on, I think, episode 16, if I'm right. Am I right? 16. Again, citizenoutbreak.com. They are selling like hotcakes. Citizenoutbreak.com for the game. Tell your friends about the podcast. A lot of people are messaging me, and I'm sure they're messaging you, Matthew, about, hey, why didn't you tell me about this podcast? Because we've been kind of under the radar trying to get, our bearings. Now we're at episode 16. We're in the flow. We have a flow going. Are people reaching out to you?
People are giving me good reviews. They
I got a couple of good reviews. The only bad thing that I've heard so far
what?
is the last image that you did. I look like I was very deathly sick. And I think it's because of these black circles under my eyes. I know. I got this dark thing. I have to lighten it up.
It's dark.
I like being dark.
But production sends me the images. I don't choose the images.
Yeah. I like being dark. Dark Elon, dark MAGA. This is dark Rudy. Dark Rudy.
Dark Rudy.
Yeah, dark Rudy.
That's good. So, I like the hat.
You like that? Happy Cowboy. We went to a couple concerts this past week. Me and my wife. We went to Post Malone and Jelly Roll. It was fantastic at Citi Field.
Where was that? Was at Citi Field?
Yeah, but Citi Field is a terrible venue for concerts, Matthew. It's terrible. Okay,
Why?
So it's first of all, it's Mets play there. Okay.
Well, no, I went to some of the Mets playoffs games. It was
all right. So that there's a huge net on the side, right? There's a net for the foul balls.
Yes.
They don't take the net down for concerts. It's up. I mean, it doesn't really stun the view at all, but it's kind of annoying because the net is there, and it's not like it's just like where we were sitting. It went all the way kind of like towards
where's the stage set up though? Like in the infield?
No, the stage is at a home plate, like behind home plate, like over there.
So front row is kind of like front row for the baseball game, and you're front row for the.
No.
Is there seating on the field?
There's seating on the field, but not the. Not the full field. Not the full field. So
is he facing the outfield or facing?
He's facing the outfield.
So he's singing. So you're behind him when you're at home plate? No,
you're in front of him. You're in front of him.
Right. So he's facing the audience, the stands. He's not facing.
No.
He's not facing.
No. So the stands that you would sit at a game and you're sitting behind the.
If I'm sitting behind home plate and I'm looking at the guy's ass.
Right. So imagine he's performing in those stands, in the stands out to where the hitter is, and then everybody's facing him. So imagine you're the pitcher.
Right.
Right. So so that's what it is. But we were on the side. We had good seats. The other thing about when you go to a stadium show, although MetLife Stadium's a little bit different, is in aspect to MSG or any of these is the artist is further away. You know what I mean? So you're not as close, even though your seats are good and your seats are close. Right. You're not as close.
Got it.
But it was fantastic.
So you have that netting up.
We had the netting up. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it wasn't so bad. The show was great. Post Malone is fantastic. Jelly Roll, oh my God, what a talent! Post
Malone is one of those guys I don't know like offhand, but when I hear the songs, I'm like, I like that song. I'm like, oh, that's Post Malone.
Yeah. So this is the country Post Malone. He did some of his other rap stuff. It was really good. The next night we went to Russell Dickerson.
Wait, and Jelly Roll is good.
Jelly Roll's fantastic.
I gotta listen to some Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll's fantastic. Great artist. He's probably going to be headlining his own stuff soon.
Remember the thing we went to, the Redhead.
Which one was that?
Downtown.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
great.
That was 200 people. That was a private show. This
Yeah,
is
but
different.
I mean, he's
The guy
also
was
like
right here. The guy was right there.
I didn't know a lot of his songs either, but then I knew a lot of his songs.
Yeah.
It
So
was great.
so the following night we went to Russell Dickerson at Pier 17, which is
Great venue.
fantastic venue. If you're in New York or you're on your way to New York, it doesn't matter who it is. I would go because you just hang out. You're outdoors. You got the Brooklyn Bridge behind you. You got the Manhattan skyline behind you. It's a great, great thing. And this guy
Awesome.
Nico Moon opened up. If you don't know Nico Moon,
I'm gonna go check that out.
I think everybody
Nico
should check
Moon.
out Nico Moon. Russell Dickerson is great, but Nico Moon, I've heard his songs, but I didn't know who he was. And he was selling this hat, Happy Cowboy, and I had to get it in the rotation. I had to get the hat in the rotation.
Because I saw Thievery Corporation at on top of that at Pier 27. It was great, and you could walk in like you can walk out like if you don't want to get you can. It's great. You have space. It's nice.
Well, this was Pier 17. Is Pier 27 different?
It's the same. No. Whatever you said, that one.
No,
on
Pier
top of
17.
the
Yeah.
John. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because back like years ago on the other side, on the east side, there was
West
a
side.
pier on the west side. Sorry, on the west side, around I think like 14th Street, around there. No, past a little bit further down, like 10th Street. There used to be shows over there. I saw One Republic. There used to be shows over there, but the people who live there in those very, very expensive apartments, they told them to get the fuck out.
What's the one that has the shows? It's on. I forget the name. It's on the west side. It's really cramped. It's not. You've gone to shows there. It's on the west side highway. Yeah, I think it's indoors.
On the West Side Highway?
It's on the west side.
Barry Ballroom?
No.
Mercury Lounge?
No, that's on the east side.
Oh, on the west side.
Like in the 40s, 30s, but all the way.
Oh, Terminal 5.
That one.
Terminal 5. Terminal 5 is not a good venue.
Right.
No, you're cramped up. Not good. Not good. I've been to shows there. It's not a great venue. If you want to go get a drink, you can't get back to where you were standing. If you want to go to the bathroom, you can't get back to where you're standing.
I can't. I need freedom.
No, it's not good. All right, let's speaking of shows, Elon Musk and President Donald Trump had a fight over since Friday. They got into it the last couple days. We didn't have our podcast since, so we're gonna talk about it now. You want to give me the play-by-play about what happened?
I don't know. I wasn't really following. I didn't see it. You actually told me like you see what's going on.
So I was at work, and I'm in my group chats, for other stuff that I do, and we kind of watch what's going on in the market to the news and stuff, and all of a sudden you got Elon Musk is tweeting or Xing, whatever you want to call it, and President Trump is meeting with the German guy Merz, and they're talking.
Well,
and
he said something funny to Merz. He said like, wasn't a good because it was June 6th.
Yeah,
D-Day, and he looked at him. He wasn't a good day for you.
no, and Merz was like, and he had like it was a good day because we became liberated. Right. No, that's not really what happened. So
it's funny though. I remember.
So they I guess everything happened around the same time, and Elon started this. It started out like, listen, all fights start off with a little thing and then blow up into a big thing.
Well, you were the one that alerted me to it. You're like, look at this, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's and then you're like, wait, and then while we were talking, then it went worse and worse, and then he got to the Epstein thing.
It just escalated and escalated, and now Matthew, I know we had this conversation, but Donald Trump doesn't drink alcohol and he doesn't take drugs, and Elon, this was in the afternoon. I don't think he drinks in the afternoon. The drugs thing, we're not sure. We've heard stories that he was on the special ketamine. Maybe he takes magic mushrooms. Now, magic mushrooms don't do this to you.
He's an odd guy for sure. I mean, drugs are
He's an odd guy. He definitely has Asperger's or something like that, allegedly.
Something.
he's got some kind of tick, and he's a genius, and like a lot of these geniuses, they have things, and like Elon isn't the type of person where he's like a kid. Nobody said no to him, and when someone does say no to him, he finds a different approach, and he gets what he wants. It's not because he's billionaire. This
So
was Elon like
you're thinking
long
about
time
the
ago.
NASA thing?
No. Elon started for days. Elon has been talking about the big, beautiful bill that was passed by Congress and now is in the Senate, and it's waiting
Right.
for approval to pass. Now, the big, beautiful bill, if you know about it, everybody says it's big, beautiful, and it's a bill, but there's a lot of things wrong with the big, beautiful bill. Now, Trump and everybody in Congress is saying, oh, we're going to reduce the deficit by 1.5, 1.6 trillion. We have a lot of tax cuts that we're going to keep in place. We're going to have additional tax cuts. It's going to be great for everybody. But what they're not talking about is, I think, 5-6 trillion that it adds onto our deficit, which is not good. It's not good.
Well, there's a lot more spending.
A lot more spending.
You forget about I don't really count whatever the CBO or whatever says, just because they never really count growth from the tax cuts. They look at it just less revenue in, but yeah, there's a lot of spending. It's just another big spending bill, huge spend on everything, and no cuts, and nothing from Doge. Nothing from Doge is really being codified. So we're not seeing any reduction in spending, and that's the big issue.
That's a big issue. So, okay, so now let's take a few steps back and analyze what could have happened and what was going on. So, who was Elon? What was Elon doing at the government? What was he in charge of?
You have a few things going on, right? You have people burning Tesla cars all across the country. You have people saying that when Elon was appointed Doge and cost cutter, they immediately said he was Hitler, and they said they essentially said the act of finding any cost cutting is tantamount to what the Nazis did in Germany, right? They compared cost cutting to killing like 6 million Jews. So that's 2. 3, he had his guy, supposedly that he had his guy that he wanted Trump to put in at NASA that Trump said no to. 4, he doesn't like the big beautiful bill. 5, I don't know, Waymo is on the way up and Tesla's getting a lot of heat. People are burning the cars, and 6, his pay package wasn't approved, right, at Tesla. So he's got 6 things that are irritating him, right? That are causing and I'm not getting into any of the, ketamine or whatever, but he's got 6 things that are on his mind. And then supposedly Bessent beat the shit out of him. Like Bessent, really stood on business in the Oval Office when they were having that debate.
I think that's bullshit. I don't think Bessent punched the guy for numerous reasons.
What they said was, Bessent's a pretty big guy.
He's a big guy, but he's not hitting anybody.
Well, what they said was that Elon went at him, put his shoulder into his ribs, and Bessent just boom, and they had to be separated. All I'm saying is they've got 6 things that are irritating Elon. To me, the whole thing is I can't it was so aggressive, the stuff that he came out with and it was funny because I was texting. I was like, are you seeing this? And then I got hit by a couple other people, for similar, because the market started tanking and blah, blah, blah. Are you seeing this? But I was like, this isn't so bad. Then, so just my take is that I just can't imagine it's so nuclear, and then he deleted all of them also. Oh, and he, the Epstein, and then the other thing. I've been talking a lot, but I'll just say, when he came in, there were 3 things that Musk really stood on. Right, one is as soon as Trump gets elected, he's gonna release all the Epstein stuff.
Right. So
that hasn't happened.
Doge. So okay, so back to before the fight on Twitter started. You had Elon a couple days ago in the White House. It was his last day, quote unquote. He was stepping down from his position. He was getting the golden key, and you saw him with the black eye. Now, what he was saying was,
The golden key. I didn't see a golden key.
oh, you didn't see the golden? Yeah,
Okay,
Trump gave him a
sorry.
golden key. There was a whole thing. That's when everybody saw the big beautiful black eye. But his whole thing was this big beautiful bill. He doesn't want the trillions added, and he keeps asking Congress and the Senate to reduce it, and nobody's cutting it. Now, remember, he came in as Doge, and his whole thing was to cut spending, and they kind of handcuffed him. Although people are saying, "Oh, he got in here, he got in here," he wasn't allowed to go into the Pentagon Department of Defense to cut. They totally cock blocked him there. He wasn't allowed to go into different other places, big places. He wasn't allowed to cut there, and those are big cuts there.
Well, I don't think
Not-
he did any. In the end of the day, they didn't achieve anything.
you remember we spoke about it. The Department of Defense the day before 9/11. What happened?
Well, no, I get it.
Tell the viewers what happened.
The trillions of dollars. Rumsfeld came out and said we had an accounting error for trillions of dollars.
I think it was
Can't
3
find.
trillion. They couldn't find 3 trillion.
But it happens all. The Pentagon hasn't passed an audit. I think in like 10. I don't know, 20 years.
40 years, I think.
Whatever that is. I mean, government. There's no shortage of it. And the second that Elon started bringing forth these anecdotes, they called him a Nazi, and you had judges stepping out and blocking the actions. And kind of the stump was, yes, there's waste, fraud, and abuse, but this isn't the way to cut it. There is no way to cut it. They don't want to cut it.
They don't want to cut it. Why don't they want to cut it? Why do you think they don't want to cut it?
Your power, your profile, all the above increases with the more that you spend. The bigger the program that you look over and allocate and manage, the better your resume. So the motivation of running a lean ship, like in the private sector, is the opposite in government.
No, because government. Look, you have career politicians. You got people like Nancy Pelosi, who went in, doesn't make that much money, and all of a sudden she's a multi-millionaire. AOC, Bernie Sanders, and I'm not talking about just the other side. You have the right side, the Republicans, same thing. You go in, you don't have pay. You came from a school teacher or military.
Nobody would be a career politician if they weren't making money.
No, they're making a lot of money. So did something happen where Elon got into it, where he found something? Because remember, he came out a couple months ago. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to release something that backtracks all Congress."
They released it.
No, they didn't release it. They didn't release who. We wanted names. Names.
There's the whole system. It functions where the programs are inflated because you're incentivized in Congress to write more money than less. Every single bill has pork in it and fat, and it's a license to steal to be in Congress.
So Elon was talking about this beautiful bill and how he's upset. Remember, Elon gets what he wants to get, and his whole thing is, why does SpaceX and Tesla work? It's because he's able to cut the fat. He's able to spend 30 million, 40, 50 million to send a rocket to space, where Boeing spends 10 billion. So he's able to save, he's able to cut corners. The guy, he might be crazy, but he knows how to save money. He knows what to do. He knows what to do.
I'm not splitting hairs. The guy, yes, but I mean Tesla survived because of government subsidies.
Exactly. So then Trump comes out.
They lost $15,000 every car they sold up until around 5 years ago.
So Trump comes out during the whole MERS thing, and they ask him, why is Elon upset? Oh, Elon went crazy because he's upset that in the bill we're taking away the subsidies. You just said the subsidies. But they were in the bill, and this bill got passed by Congress several weeks ago, and nobody was saying Elon wasn't saying anything. Nobody was saying anything.
During the campaign, he actually said he was against subsidies for EV, and he was against the EV mandates.
Right. So
that didn't add up.
Right. So it didn't add up because Elon didn't care. Now, then Elon, takes to heart like a little kid that Trump came at him, and he goes, "That's not true. That's not true." And then things started to escalate, and then he threw in Trump wouldn't have been elected if it wasn't for me. Ungrateful. What could be true, maybe not true, but he did spend millions of dollars in battleground states. Could have Trump won in those battles?
He definitely helped get votes for sure.
He was probably like the sixth man on a basketball team.
Look, I think Trump, what had all the momentum. I think Trump 2020 had all the momentum. But I think Elon certainly helped recruit a lot of support for sure.
Right.
People, when Elon's coming out, that brings in Joe Rogan, and I think across kind of the Andreessens and all these types of people, having Elon come out first helps a lot of people come out after. I think he played a big part of the movement.
He did. Peter Thiel came.
Look, I think he played a big part of the movement. I think the reality is you're not like taking on spending in DC is just, I don't care. Apparently Elon Musk just doesn't stand a shot. Neither does Trump. So they're not cutting any spending. Last time Trump was president, they expanded the currency by 40%.
Right. So Trump's whole thing is, oh no, the beautiful bill is going to pay for itself, and he's leaning on these tariffs. But what's going on right now? They're negotiating the tariffs down. So maybe we get some money back from these tariffs, but I don't see getting anything more. Now the feud starts to escalate. Okay, Trump says something, but he's not really. This is the first time where I've seen where Trump attacks people that he's in a fight with, where he's not really attacking. He's kind of playing it calm.
Trump has been very calm, and they asked him today. Did you see what he said back today?
No, I didn't see what.
They asked him, like, have you spoken to Elon? And he's like, no. And they're like, would you or do you want to speak to him? And he didn't, all he said was, and he was using kind of like the mellow Trump, where he's like using that very kind of, I don't know, like that low voice where he's kind of, and he's like, I don't know. I can imagine he wants to talk to me. I'd be open to that. And then they're like, well, do you want to talk to him? He's like, I'm not going to say that. And he just repeated it. I bet he wants to talk to me. So yeah, it's funny because he didn't go after Elon
Right.
at all.
Right. But Elon was like a little child and threw out, hey, bombshell. They didn't release the Epstein files because Donald Trump is in it. Have a nice day, DJT. So that he threw that out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Then he followed that up with Trump should be impeached.
Right.
So he's throwing all this stuff out, and it's like, wow, this went from 0 to 60 real fast. Like this is not cool at all.
Right.
And then Trump said, you know what, maybe we should. But by the way, the media, they twist everything around. They take snippets of what Trump said. So the whole thing about giving back the Tesla, Trump had to buy the Tesla. He couldn't take it as a gift. He had to buy it. So they're saying, oh, you're going to give it back to him. What is he going to give back to him? Is it a lemon law? And return it back to the dealer? It's his car.
Right.
But he never said that. He's like, oh, I'm going to look into what to do with it. Maybe I'll move it. Because I think it's been parked in front of the White House this whole time. Maybe he'll move it down the street. But he's not driving in it. It's not like he's driving. And the whole
family, not driving around.
And the whole family has Teslas. No, and the whole family has Teslas. He came out and said, oh, the grandkids have Teslas. The kids have Teslas. It's not like they're giving away the Teslas because they got into a fight with Elon, and it's a bullshit fight. Then he said, we're going to look into the subsidies, which was also bullshit because all the contracts, the government contracts with SpaceX, they can't get rid of the contracts with SpaceX. Do you know what would happen if Donald Trump and the United States of America got rid of the contracts with SpaceX? Do you know what would happen? And first of all, it's not that much. That's not that much. I think it's like only 8% of SpaceX are government contracts. But do you know what would happen to the United States of America? Okay.
What would happen?
China is so far ahead of us in the space race right now. I believe we spoke about helium-3 and how they're mining the helium-3 on the moon, and we're 2.5 years out. So
on the moon?
China is on the moon. They're on the moon.
I don't know about that.
Well, they're mining. They're mining this helium-3, and if they get the helium-3 back, they're able to power up the
Look,
whole.
China wants to put up there. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, China wants to put look at our airports. Look at our bullshit. I lose signal on 63rd Street on the FDR.
I'm
They're ahead of
losing
us.
signal here in my
Right.
house. And I got airport Wi-Fi, and
Right.
I'm still losing it.
Right,
So
right.
if they lose Elon, number one, they're gonna have to pay Boeing, who can't get astronauts back from space. They're gonna have to pay them billions and billions of dollars of bullshit
Right.
money to do their space program, or they're gonna have to go to Jeff Bezos, who has a much inferior product. So they need Elon. They need him for Starlink. They need him for SpaceX. They need him. They need him to go up there and mine. I don't think he wants to go to Mars. I think he wants to mine an asteroid. That's what I think. I think he wants to send these satellites up so that everybody gets free Wi-Fi and free telephone and free. You could do the whole electricity from up there. It's a whole beam thing. Anyway, they need Elon for that. Fuck Tesla. Nobody cares about Tesla. The robo taxi that's coming out, which today he was like, people see them on the roads in Austin, Texas. That's a big thing. I think that's the future. You got Waymo. No, well, Waymo has Waymo.
He's got I have friends that put their kids in them to go to school.
Right, so he's got the robo taxi, which are much better than the Waymo, and they're coming out.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're phenomenal. So he's got that. He's got the guy's a genius. He's got the robots coming out, that could help you for $30,000. I think everybody wants one.
Look, I like it better when they get along. I like it when
I think
buddies.
it's better when they get along. Now you did say Elon went back and deleted everything. Now, is that and he's been retweeting stuff that he agrees on with Trump now and what things have been doing. So he's been retweeting that and liking that and commenting about stuff that they've been doing. Do I think they're going to reconcile? Yes. Do I think that this was a real fight? No. I think this was bullshit. I think something else was going on. I think something else.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just, it went too fast. I mean, to go to the Epstein thing, to go to that's a little I think if he's really tweeting that, there's no other reason why he's tweeting that.
So the Epstein thing, right? Elon knows that he's not, and if Trump was in the Epstein thing, the Democrats would have released it years ago when he was going up against Biden and Kamala, right? They would have released everything on him.
Yeah,
the deep state and the Democrats, they would have released everything. So you got that. Now
they've done that.
What's really interesting is the day before this all happened and Elon drops the Epstein tweet, something was like a little bit under the radar.
What?
Jeffrey Epstein invested in Peter Thiel's company.
Which one?
I believe I sent it to you. Let me see if I can find it. But he invested, this was a while back, and there's rumors that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Elon Musk's brother to his girlfriend or wife. Okay, so here we go. Investment, Kimball, yeah. Epstein invested $40 million in Valar Ventures, a venture capital firm co-founded by Peter Thiel between 2015 and 2016. Epstein's estate benefited from the investment. It has grown to an estimated $170 million.
Wow, it's a good return.
Right. Reports of the meeting between Thiel and Epstein surfaced in 2023 with emails showing multiple planned meetings in 2014, including dinner with filmmaker Woody Allen. That's a good group. So
Woody Allen, I told you I saw Woody Allen with his daughter wife a few weeks ago.
Right. So there was stories that I heard, maybe you heard, that Jeffrey Epstein, I think it was in 16, around that time period, 17, 18, around that time period, he was working with Middle Eastern partners to try to take Tesla private.
Epstein was?
Yeah. So if anybody was in Epstein files, it would be Elon Musk.
Look, the whole thing, Epstein is right? The whole Epstein thing is funny because, he was managing a lot of money, so he rubbed shoulders with everybody. You know, there were people that were like, I don't want to have anything to do with this creep. And then there were others, but across the span of his career, he dealt with a lot of people. He did get kicked out reportedly of Mar-a-Lago by Trump, because Trump thought he was a creepy guy. There was the deposition, where you see a few pages of the agent trying to, you know, basically wordplay with the person being, oh, you saw Trump there, you saw Trump there, and like she kept saying, no, Trump was not there. Trump was not there. That was in the deposition. So whatever is at the heart of the Epstein. I mean, we've seen Bill Clinton was on the plane 20 some odd times. I mean, all we've seen the guy in the wheelchair, hawking his thing with the small people. Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey. I mean, we've seen Prince Andrew. We've seen people. It's out there. Whatever they're hiding. And I think it's very strange, the Kash Patel and Bongino. We talked about that the other week, but there's stuff there and the fact that, like, the way everything works, which is why we made the game, like it's as if like there wasn't this event where DC Drano and these other influencers showed up and were walking around the White House front lawn with the binders being like, we released it. Truth. Like, the story coming from the top has changed, right? They were like, first it was like, we're releasing him day one. Then it was like, well, there's a whole process here. We have to look, do the whole classified thing, make sure it's clean. Then it's here. And they had that photo op. And then it was like, well, actually, there's been a delay at the New York office because of Kash Patel. Then there was like this bullshit thing between Bondi and Kash Patel. Nobody's asked Trump anything about it, right? Like, no reporter has asked Trump, like, hey, what do you think about this thing? So there's something, and like I said, a lot of this information's like it's out there. Like, there's a lot of meat for the reporters to dig into if they wanted to and ask about, but they don't. So whatever's at the heart of this thing, that they are changing stories all the time, we don't know. But
So why does he bring it up? Why does he throw that out there?
Well, it's a big deal. Like, look, I mean, if you just follow what's been for public consumption, it was, like I said at the beginning, it's like Elon. If you look at, like, he does have 5 things that are going on that the public is aware about. One of them was he was very, when he was on Rogan, he tweeted about it a lot. He got into threads about Epstein, and he's like, when Trump gets elected, he's going to make everything transparent right away. So that was something that he was talking about on the campaign trail, and he told Joe Rogan and these other guys that it was a big thing about why he wanted to support Trump. I'm just saying, like, I have no idea. I think this thing is fake. It just looks so, like, weird and like.
But does he throw it out there to be like okay, I'm putting eyes on the bill for people to see the bill. I'm putting eyes on people to see. Oh, we need the Epstein files or the news to come out because they're not putting it out. We need. And then, he brings up what was the other thing? Oh, impeachment.
Yeah,
impeachment. So the reason why I think he brought up impeachment is because you got the auto pen, right? So what happens in an impeachment? You have testimony in front of Congress, and they impeach you. Is this like a cry, like, oh, impeachment? Okay, maybe we'll call in these people that were part of the auto pen thing with Biden and start investigating that. Maybe is there something there?
Well, I have to imagine, like, maybe the next step is Rogan having Elon on the show and being like, what was going on there? And
I think he would already had him on.
I mean, when did it happen? 4 days ago?
It happened 4 days ago.
While Kash Patel was on the show, right?
It happened while Kash Patel was on the show, and they actually broke the news about these tweets on the show, and Rogan is like, somebody should take his phone away from him.
Right.
And Kash didn't want anything to do with it. He's like, I'm not going to comment on it. But so look, this was from last week up until, the news cycle changes like that. It's quick, Matthew.
Right.
It's quick.
It's gone. It's gone.
And it's gone. And what's in the news now?
Tell me.
everybody's talking about the riots, the LA riots. Everybody's talking about LA riots. So Elon is gone from the news. His stock dropped like, he lost like I don't know, billions and billions of dollars.
40 billion or something.
40 billion, and now the stock is back to where it was last week before he tweeted it out and they started to fight. So now we're talking about the LA riots, the protests, and sorry, did you hear that?
Yeah, who can it be? It's a good song.
Yeah. Sorry, my phone.
Is that a ring?
That is my ring.
Who can it be now? That's great.
Yeah. So we got
That's funny. I never knew that.
so we got the LA riots going on. No one's talking about Musk. And are you prepared for what's going to happen on Saturday, Matthew?
Oh, why don't you tell everybody?
So Saturday, so we're going to talk about the LA riots right now, but Saturday, I want you to be prepared. Everybody prepared. Don't go to the cities. You're in LA. Go to, I don't know, Palm Springs, go somewhere else. Maybe go to Long Beach. They ain't touching you in Long Beach, or maybe not Long Beach, but Laguna Beach and Orange County over there. They're not touching you over there. Get out of LA. If you're in New York, stay out of the city. Go to the Hamptons. Alex Soros is getting married in the Hamptons. It's going to be safe there. No paid protesters over there.
Marrying Huma?
Huma, yeah, he's marrying Huma. Supposedly it's this weekend in East Hampton. So that's going to be a safe place. But there's going to be riots between Summer of Love, the playbook. It's going to be peaceful protests in hundreds of cities across America. Peaceful. They like to use this word peaceful, but we saw what happened when there was peaceful protests during the Summer of Love with the BLM torturing cities and looting, and that was really peaceful. But they burnt down Minnesota pretty good, and they banged up New York City and California really good.
You remember Chop? How about Seattle?
Chop. The only Chop I like is the show Chop. But so you have the anti-American No Kings group. They're planning nationwide protests this Saturday, same as Donald Trump's military parade.
Yeah, the military parade's on Saturday, right?
Right. So I think his birthday's that day too.
It is.
I believe. Yeah.
So they're hanging on his birthday. That's funny.
So they're gonna burn down America, right? So what's happening in LA right now, Matthew? You want to give me a rundown about what's happening?
I don't know what was the spark that started all this, but they're against ICE because ICE was doing raids or something. I think ICE was doing raids, and
ICE went in. Yeah. So ICE went in, and they were raiding, and the media came out, said the ICE is raiding. They're going after these little children, but that's not what happened. The media is, again, I don't know who's paying the media. I don't know who's paying these politicians. I don't know who's paying the protesters, but that's not what happened. What happened was ICE went into this area of Los Angeles where the cartel, the Mexican cartel, where they funnel all their human trafficking and all their business, and they're all like in this area, and the cartel controls it. And if you take out the cartel, and you don't have the mules, and there's the sex trafficking, and there's drugs and fentanyl, and you cut that down and you take them out, then you're cleaning it up. They're not going after the little people. And when I mean little people, I mean they're not going after kids. They're not going after, they were at the Home Depot and they were at Lowe's. No, they weren't. Maybe you saw an ICE guy drive by Lowe's because he needed some zip ties. But they weren't arresting anybody over there. They were going after the cartel. And the media twists it. You got Gavin Newsom again, Gavin with the good hair. Someone should take away his hair gel. He's out there on the TV. You got Karen Bass, the Palisades burnt down because of her.
Well, look, whatever sparked this particular thing, what they've now looks like they've really successfully done, and they started doing it years ago. If the word migrant started showing up on the news, politicians, everything, they started using that word instead of illegal alien. because it conflates and gets rid of the idea of legal versus illegal and allows them to just make it about race.
Right.
So,
So
I think where this is headed is, they're probably just angling for some kind of mass amnesty thing, because
maybe, but
I don't I don't know. There's no, he's calling. If you look at Obama's speeches from '09 and '12, on his policy on immigration, or Clinton's or Schumer's, or you know any one of these guys, it fits right there with Trump. They're not doing anything differently than Trump.
Obama
Aliens,
was Obama
alien,
was taking the illegals off the streets and he was deporting them.
yeah,
Nobody's talking about that.
he deported more than Trump did. I mean, my
Millions.
point is, so they moved the goalposts on this issue, and they're just calling for open borders, is what they want, because they
You hearing that again?
yeah, it's good, it's a good break,
Yeah,
but
but
they yeah, look, they've gotten rid of it. The word migrant is strategic, right? I mean, you didn't see that wasn't what it was, illegal alien, and that used to be an issue. Remember when politicians ran for office, one of the things that they would get tripped up on, he had like an illegal alien, as in his house. He was in his employment. So look, the goalposts have moved. The Republican controlled Congress, in 2016 under Trump, they didn't pass the wall funding. So this is something I think that's a pretty bipartisan issue. I think really where our government is going is towards this mass amnesty. I never, we spoke about it. I never, the whole thing on the campaign about mass deportations. That's not, I don't think that's practical. I don't think that's really going to happen. And I think that they've certainly, like the messaging out there that's viral on Instagram and everything with the kids and everything, there's no distinction between legal and illegal. And now there's no distinction when you're talking about like the politicians are no longer making that distinction. It's just about migrants and racism.
all right. So you brought up something Congress, right? You brought up Congress.
Yeah.
What happens in a state when you have X amount of millions more of residents?
You get more representatives.
You get more representatives. And Los Angeles, which is predominantly
Yeah, you do, right?
yeah, you do.
Is that where? Yeah,
You
that's
do.
what you're talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So sorry. So what happens is that a reason? Maybe that's a reason. But what's happening is a lot of these people that are coming into riot and making disruptions, they're paid for. There was ads on Craigslist. People still use Craigslist. There was ads on Craigslist. I think they were offering like $3,000, $6,000 a week. So I want to go out there and break some shit for $3,000, $6,000 a week. There's ads out there. They're looking for big, strong men. Big, strong men. Now, what happened to the strong women? Where are the feminists? Again, they're not paying the strong women to go out there and riot. And I've
seen some of these women out there, right? I think they're paying them all.
Right, but they're not. They're not in the ads. They're looking for strong men. The ad says men, doesn't say women.
Violence. Look, what we're seeing on TV. There's violence there.
There's violence. There's definitely violence there, and there's the one guy was throwing the rocks. I think they just caught him. The guy who was throwing rocks at the ICE agents and the federal.
Where was it? Was this isolated to a certain area? And didn't they close down the 110?
Well, it started off in Paramount, California, which is like right by Los Angeles, and that area is predominantly Latino or Mexican or whatever you want to call it, South American. It's predominantly that. Now, most of those people that were protesting were not from there. Again, I'm like trying to tell you, like they brought them in.
Of course, they give them boxed lunches. They give them $50 a day.
Bricks. There was bricks dropped off here. The old playbook from BLM days. The brick.
Yeah. I mean, look. If you think about it, if we wanted to go out and throw a party where we're selling or giving alcohol, we have a lot of friends. We could get people to show up, right? But to get people to show up every day or get a certain amount of people, you're going to have to incentivize them somehow. People aren't just showing up, So they give them money. They give them a boxed lunch. They give them a brick,
And I spoke to a couple people from LA. One of my friends who happens to be part Mexican, and I told him, look, I promise you I'm not going to give you up. We're not going to deport you. No, but he's not happy about this. He's not happy. A lot of people are not happy. A lot of Los Angelinos, they're not happy. They're not happy. You got the black community that's not happy. You got the Angelinos that are not happy. Can I play something for you? My phone keeps going off, and the reason why is because I connected it so I could play this for you.
Nation's flag in this country is the way to go? You're delusional. Many of the people that are raising those flags in Los Angeles and San Francisco are not even from Mexico, probably never even been to Mexico, live no culture even near the Mexican or Hispanic culture, but are so willing to raise the flag and riot and protest and loot, and yet wouldn't last a weekend in Mexico. You want to be a part of this country as long as it benefits you. But when it comes to abiding by our laws, abiding by our immigration laws that every nation has, it's an issue. And because the left-wing media's narrative has deceived you to think that anything and everything that the Trump administration does is discriminatory or racist, you overlook the fact that the same people feeding that to you didn't bat an eye during the Obama administration or the Clinton administration, but because a rich white man won the presidency because of his immigration policies, and now he is fulfilling the promise that he made to keep that promise, it's an issue. You really think Governor Newsom is on your side? You really think the state of California loves its immigrants? Or have they simply been manipulating your mind and your heart and your culture to get your vote? It's a disgrace what's going on in Los Angeles. It's a disgrace what's going on in San Francisco. And if you're a part of that crowd that chooses violence over peaceful protests, maybe you do need to spend some time in Mexico.
The guy's 100% right. If you rioted or did any of this in any other country, you're gone. You're in jail.
You think about the message, though. They're holding up Mexican flags. They're
holding up Mexican flags.
No, but the argument is that they belong here, right? Because it's migrants. It's no longer illegal or legal. They just belong here. So wouldn't they be better suited to hold up an American flag if the message is that we belong here? This is our country.
That's the message. Why are you burning and ripping up the American flag when that's why you want to be here? You want to be here because of America. So why are you holding up a Mexican flag? Go back to Mexico if you want to hold up a Mexican flag.
I thought
and the same thing goes with the Palestinian flag. If you want to be in, go to Gaza.
Well, but the whole this movement is supposed to be about these people that are breaking and throwing. They're saying this is our country, America. They're Americans, or they should have the rights of Americans. But they're holding up Mexican flags. So it doesn't. That's them saying we're not here. We're proud Mexicans. So what are they doing?
Why are they here?
It doesn't jive with the message that the media is portraying them to be fighting for. Is what I'm
saying.
No,
it's not.
The optics don't go together.
It's not. So again, like most things, you have a lot of people on the streets and they're rioting. And what happens next? Trump decides to send in the National Guard.
I spoke to a friend. I mean, look, my friend's not in downtown LA. He said, he didn't see anything, and he was traveling. He flew out of there yesterday. I said, "You see anything on the way to the airport?" He said, "No."
No. This is a pocket area, but the media is making it seem like it's all over the place. Just like when you see the videos of Paris. Paris is burning down. It's not really Paris. It's like some concocted little shit area. Same thing out there.
I don't know how widespread it is. What I saw is bad enough. Like the idea that our media is glorified, and our by the way, and the Pelosi saying like, "Don't get carried away." You see one burning car. It could just be some exuberance. I think I've seen, if it's only on a square block, the fact that we have media and U.S. representatives glorifying it and promoting it is disgusting.
It's disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah.
And Gavin Newsom comes out and Holman's saying we're going to arrest him, and he's calling him a tough guy. Come arrest me. And how could you bring out the National Guard, and you're using the National Guard and you bring in the military against these people, and it's a peaceful protest. It's not peaceful. They're burning the shit down.
It's amazing. They're gonna have 2028. It's amazing that Newsom is gonna be. There's a real movement behind Newsom. Like, if you see what's going viral about him, like, there is a big, like, level. They're the Democrats, or they're not in power. They're not the incumbent party, but so it's wide open. But it's going to be like Cuomo, who's murdered grandparents and destroyed this New York City, versus Newsom, who's destroyed L.A. It's pretty funny, actually.
Well, so back in 2021, January 14, 2021, Newsom deployed 1,000 active National Guard members.
Was that to get the surfers or close the skate parks?
To help the Highway Patrol protect California State Capitol from insurrectionists that never even happened. They weren't even there during the week leading up to Biden's inauguration.
Look, it's all theater. I mean, government now is the new Hollywood. I mean, they don't do anything. This is what they do. It's just bullshit.
I mean, Gavin did lose Hollywood. He lost Hollywood, so now why not be a good actor?
Fucking fire ate 1/3 of the city. I mean, or something. A fire ate the size of Manhattan out of California. I mean that happens in like the 1600s.
You got all this stuff going on now. The peaceful protests, they're looting. They're going into Apple store. They're grabbing the stuff from Apple. They're grabbing the weed shops. They're breaking into the weed shop.
They're the unfuckables are back in LA. I like that terminology for these people. Have you seen some of these people that are out there?
Yeah, I've seen, but the people of Los Angeles are getting angry. They're getting angry. Did you see what they did to Kobe Bryant's mural?
It's a shame.
Kobe Bryant's mural. This guy walks up. Should I play it?
Well, I mean, the guy walked up. They destroyed the mural of Kobe and his daughter.
They destroyed the mural,
and isn't that off Melrose?
Yeah, and they just fixed it. They just fixed it because it was defaced like not too long ago. They just fixed it. This is Kobe Bryant. This isn't somebody. This is Kobe, L.A. Bryant.
It's a shame. Look, these people. It's a shame. I mean, if you're going to go out there and throw bricks through cop windows and burn things and steal, you're a shitty person.
Shitty. And you got...
I mean, they're there for, who knows? I mean, look, you have different parts of the crowd, right? You have people that want to be inflamed to go out there and destroy anything. You have real believers that think they're in there for a cause. You have the paid for crowd that's going and immediately going with the bricks and immediately going with the fire, for the cameras. And and you just need a few bad actors within to really start going. And they look like assholes.
They do look like assholes, and people in LA are getting angry about it. They don't like it at all. You got Maxine Waters. How old is she? She's been there for she's got to be like 150 years old. She looks like the Grim Reaper. She's walking up. She's trying to break into the detention center. They slam the door on her, and she's like, "Ooh, they slammed the door on me." And then they're coming out and they're saying, "No, don't believe your eyes. This is there is no violence. It's peaceful." But then we see them burning Waymos. You know what they were doing? Speaking of Waymo, they were calling the Waymos. And when the Waymos were coming, they were burning them down. Waymo left. They took all the cars out of L.A. They took them all out. Yeah, today they took them all out. Because what happened was these arsonists, peaceful protesters, were calling the Waymos. The Waymos would show up, and they would Molotov cocktail and burn the shit out of them.
They've moved on from Tesla. Well, that's good for Tesla, I guess. It's good for the robo-taxi.
It's great. They're not burning the Teslas now. They're burning...
Musk is probably, feeling a little better today.
Well, we talked about it. The steam is off of Elon and Donald, and now it's on to the rioters and back onto Donald sending in the troops. And oh, he's bad because he wants to deport all these people and the poor little kids. And he's not deporting little kids. And he's not deporting your gardener or your workers or the kitchen staff. They're not, and don't worry, that one member of Congress that said if you deport them, who's going to pick the blueberries? They're not deporting those people either. They're deporting the bad hombres. The bad hombres. So this Saturday, June 14th, be prepared because it's going to be Summer of Love. And once it gets hot, you know what the good thing is in New York, it's supposed to rain this weekend. So I hope these motherfuckers get rained on. Another thing is, I was talking to my buddy today, and I don't know if you agree about this, but I was like, you know what? Let them fucking burn Los Angeles down. Let them burn it down. We don't need Los Angeles. They voted for this shit. Let them burn it down.
They love Newsom. They love
Newsom. And the same thing, New York. If this shit pops off in New York, you know what? New Yorkers, Los Angelites, you voted for this shit. Burn it down. We don't care. And the guy's like, oh, but what if innocent people get killed? You know what? It's an act of war. Unfortunately, some lives have to go for us to see the bigger picture here, right?
New York, LA, these liberal cities. This is what happens under one party rule. Getting destroyed.
Speaking of another fucking moronic person event. This little person, I don't know if she, again, we spoke about her last week. We're going to bring it up again. Greta Thunberg.
Yeah,
Greta Thunberg.
Did you see the video of her flying home commercial in the back?
So she claims that they were bringing aid to Gaza. What kind of aid are you bringing on that little fucking yacht?
What are you bringing?
The Freedom. What are you bringing? What kind of aid are you bringing?
Social media.
So it was a selfie ship.
Yeah.
So
she's an asshole.
They couldn't get to Gaza. You got the Israeli army. They intercepted them, and while they were intercepting them, which Greta says we were kidnapped, they weren't kidnapped. But while they were intercepting, there's video of them in this ship. And before the Israeli army came on the ship, you know what these people on the Greta and her team were doing?
Eating?
No, they were taking all their devices, the phones, everything, and they were throwing them in the water.
Why?
So that they don't have information. Who's paying them? Who's talking to them? Who are they talking to? They got rid of everything. So they get Greta, your friend Greta, and she's saying, oh, they kidnapped me and they're torturing me. No, she's smiling a lot of these videos, and she's wearing some goofy green frog hat and trying to pretend like she's a little kid, but she's not a little kid. She's not.
42 years old.
I don't care what people say. She's not a teenager. She's definitely older. Nobody behaves like that if you're a teenager.
She's got to find a cause, and climate change is off the shelf right now because it's off the table right now because of AI. So that narrative's gone, and Hamas has the fancy of the crowd. So she's running Hamas. She should just go to Gaza.
I agree. Send her to fucking Gaza.
Why doesn't she just go to Gaza? Let her go to Gaza.
Let her go to Gaza. Let her go. So they sent.
They should have let her in. I don't know why they should have just let her in.
They should have let her in, but instead of them with security forces protecting her, they should have been giving her
they should have just said go.
Yeah, go into deep into Gaza and see you later.
See how they treat her in Gaza.
Peace out. But she was lucky. She got a flight back home. They sent her to France first, and then from France she's going where she's from.
She's
Sweden.
On her way to LA. She's on her way to LA.
Oh, she's on her way to LA, so she's going to join in the
I think
rioters.
That's what I saw. I think she's getting in on the ICE thing.
Greta Thunberg joins ICE. I see it. I believe it.
No,
I believe it.
She was the protest. She was heading to LA. I thought that's what I last saw.
I believe it. I mean, I could see it.
See a picture of her with a Mexican flag burning a cop car.
So breaking news, Federal judge rejects California's request to immediately block Trump from using Marines and National Guard to enforce the law. So he's allowed to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, the issue. I mean, they're playing because the last time I think that this was done was Eisenhower. Maybe?
Yeah.
When it wasn't the governor that called them, when it was the president that called them. It's been like 60 years. It's been a long time.
Right. There's definitely crazy stuff going on. Crazy people, crazy
this
stuff.
will be over, and the next thing will come. But yeah, this weekend I think I think it's a good time to get out of the city.
Maybe we do some well, what's Father's Day? Is that Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Well, maybe Saturday we'll do if I don't have anything, I got to check with the wife. If I don't have anything, because I'm not sure if she planned something for Father's Day for me for Saturday.
Careful, Rudy. Everybody's gonna want to come.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some Japanese wings. I'll keep you posted. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up now. I do have some other topics, but we're already past an hour here, so let's wrap it up. We will be back next week. Yeah, we're gonna do it next week. We might do it a little bit earlier though. So thank you again for tuning in. We hope we were insightful and entertaining. Hopefully you don't go riot this weekend. Keep things normal. And we'll see you back here next week.
All right, my man. Happy cowboy.
Happy cowboy.